And hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of the Zone TV Movie Entertainment with me, your host Jonathan, once again bringing you my thoughts and movie review for the brand new Sony film Uncharted. That's right, Uncharted is here, based on the video game Uncharted, obviously starring Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, Antonio Banderas, and is based on the Uncharted video game series. Got the collection number 1 through 3 here, and of course 4. I have the other one too, but just can't find it. This was close by me, so. And of course, I got this as well. Big fan of Uncharted. Love this game. Tell you the truth, I think these are the only kind of games I can actually be good in, because other video games like Call of Duty and Halo, I'm really bad. I'm just not good at those kind of games. Puzzle games like this, I'm good. Tomb Raider, you name it, Crash Bandicoot, all those, Mario, and especially Mario and Sonic. Those are the only kind of games I can actually play. So, let's talk about Uncharted, because honestly, I was very excited to see this film, but I went in there with a low expectation. I wasn't trying to see if they were going to make it exactly like the video game. But, make it feel like the video game. That's exactly what you have to do for these video game type movies to actually work and succeed. Be like the game without actually being like the game. What do I mean by that? Well, meaning that you want to have the elements of the game. Make it feel like it's the game, but also put your spin on it as a movie to make it feel its own identity as well, but still have the elements of whatever property you're trying to do. When Sonic came out, when they made the Sonic movie, it wasn't exactly like the game, or any of the games. Yeah, it had the elements of it, but it made it feel its own identity. And now, look, we're getting a sequel, and they just announced a third movie. Success works when you make a good story to whatever property you're going to do. There you go. So, let's talk about Uncharted. So, if you don't know what Uncharted is you have this character named Nathan Drake, who's an explorer, and this is a young Nathan Drake, and a young Nathan Drake where he's, he had his brother. So I'm gonna spoil some of the game here. Him and his brother are very like treasure hunter kind of. They love the mystery behind like treasures that disappeared or was gone for hundreds of years and nobody's heard about it. But there's some kind of like clues throughout all the world, and they want to explore that. Well, when Nathan finds the fact that his brothers, left him at a young age, he grows up without his brother, and then he meets Sully. Sully is this hot-headed, goal-driven kind of guy who he meets, played by Mark Wahlberg, obviously, and they go on an adventure to find this massive treasure that basically disappeared hundreds of years ago, and Sully comes to him and asks him, hey, you want to help me out? Your brother and I were together at one point. Something happened, and we should finish this together since he is your brother. Nathan takes the opportunity, and of course you have Antonio Banderas, who's the particular bad guy in this film, and here's your action-adventure film. Now, I'm going to talk about what I actually liked about this film. So, when they announced Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, I was like, okay, all right. At first, I thought, okay, he's a little young to be playing this character, because I feel like Nathan Drake should be a little bit older. But then I heard they were going to make an origins kind of story where he's younger, how he got into the whole treasure stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. He's a good actor. He's Spider-Man, obviously. We all know that. So when they cast him, and originally, Mark Wahlberg was originally going to play Nathan Drake. He was going to be Nathan Drake, and they were just going to do the whole, first game, and obviously, and they decided to go younger. So, it was all right, cool. They got Tom Holland. Great actor. He looks jacked, so, he could do it. And I hear he did his own stunt in the film, too, so that was a cool plus. But yeah, I thought, he worked. I thought he was believable as Nathan Drake, and I thought, for what the movie was going to give us, I needed to see a Nathan Drake that could be believable, and I thought he did a really good job. Now we get to Mark Wahlberg, who I'm a big fan of his work. I think he's a great actor. There are times he's done movies, hit or miss, whatever. I loved him in Transformers. He's always been good in those movies. Four Brothers and other stuff. But yeah, sometimes he's a hit or miss person for me. But not all the time. Mostly good stuff from Mark Wahlberg. And not so much unless, bad films. But I thought he did a great Sully. I honestly thought he felt like what I would picture Sully to be. He's this guy who loves the adventure, who loves to be kind of greedy in a way. Because when you watch him in the cutscenes of the game, you wonder, can you really trust Sully? And then even in the first game, you probably, if you never played the games in the first time, and you play it for the first time, you meet Sully, you're like, can you actually trust this guy? Do you think he's going to turn on you eventually in the game? Or maybe he's like the typical bad guy that you don't know. Maybe in the next game or the third game or whatever, he will turn on you. And, that's who he is as a character. He's a very greedy person. And I thought Mark Wahlberg did a really good job portraying that character. And minus the mustache. Maybe in the second one, if they make another one, he'll have the mustache, but I thought Mark Wahlberg did a really good job, and the chemistry had to work. That was the main thing here. I guess a lot of people were worried about was the chemistry. To me, it worked. I thought the chemistry was great. I thought the humor was great. I thoroughly enjoyed them working together, and they played off really well off each other. But yeah, I thought the action scenes were top notch. I thought, the whole, them going throughout the whole world to try to find this treasure. I thought it kind of felt like Jungle Cruise, how they made it into like action adventure Pirates of the Caribbean kind of thing. Kind of like here, but take it to a whole nother level, if you will. And I enjoyed it quite thoroughly. I really did. I thought it was a lot of fun. Sure, did they not give us a lot of the game stuff? Sure, but does it need to be? Not really, not all the time. But to me, it just worked. So I'm glad they did that. So let's talk about the bad stuff in here, because there are some bad stuff in here. Not too much, but there are some stuff. So when we got the information that, when we saw the trailers, we were like, okay, they show us like the big action scene, and this is in the trailer, so if you don't want to know, it's, Nathan Drake getting in the plane from, out of the air. I kind of wish they wouldn't have shown us that, because honestly, that would have been a better, like, oh my God, look at this scene. Now, granted, we've seen the scene in the game. Some of us know the game, you know which one I'm talking about. But if they would, for people who have never played the game, who see it on the big screen for the first time, it would have been like, wow, that's awesome. But if they never saw if they seen the trailers, like, that's a cool shot. And then you watch the movie, it's like, wow, that's still a cool shot, but would have been better if they never showed us in the trailer. But, what can you do? And then, of course, I get to Antonio Banderas. Love the guy. Guy's great. Great actor. They kind of underused him a little bit in this film. He's not in it as much, which I'm very disappointed, because I was like, all right, they got Antonio Banderas. He's going to be the typical bad guy. It's going to be awesome. He's going to try to go after Nathan Drake and try to get the treasure for himself. And, he has a cool backstory, but it's like... kind of underutilized. So that was a bit of a letdown. You don't do that to Antonio Banderas. Don't do that to him. Guy's too damn good. Come on, he's Zorro, for Christ's sakes. Anyway, that's my only two negatives. I kind of wish that main action scene was the scene was great. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying they should have kept that off way from the trailers and left it in the movie. And could have had a better villain. Honestly, I kind of wish they would have just used Antonio Banderas a little bit more in the movie instead of just him, what he was, and then that's it. But overall, I still enjoyed it. I like the games a lot. Yes, are the games and the movie completely different? Yes, they are. Is that bothering me as a fan of the game? No, because honestly, like I said, to make a good video game movie, you have to do a couple things. You have to make it your own, which they did. You have to, put some service of the game in some elements into from the game into the movie, which they did. Some elements, which Nathan Drake does, his typical jumping on rooftops, the way he hangs on mountains, typical stuff like that. Check. Characters that actually make sense. Now, to me, they made sense, and I thought the chemistry worked, so that's another check. And if you thought differently, that's cool, no problem. But to me, I thought everything here worked, and they checked all my boxes. So I'm excited to see what happens next. There's a mid-credit scene here, so for those of the game, you know where I'm going with it. So I'm not gonna say what it is, but which I totally forgot watching the movie. I'm like, And then the scene popped up in the screen. And I went, oh, right. I forgot about that. Because I haven't played the game in a while, so gotta undust them and play them again. But yeah, Uncharted is a fun film. Go check it out. If you're a fan of the game and you're a diehard, hardcore fan of the game, you might find some problems here with this, especially if you didn't think Tom Holland should have been Nathan Drake or Mark Wahlberg should have been Sully. I get it. I get that. But we have them now. I think they're going to be great moving forward with this. And we'll just see what happens. You know, it did really well at the box office, so that's a good thing. So we just have to wait to see what happens. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about Uncharted. Are you guys fans of the game? Have you played all of them? Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought. Stay tuned for more. Thank you very much, and have a good night.